Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of So You Want to Learn Commander. As always, this is unscripted, so please bear with me as I try to give you a off-the-cuff take on a new Commander idea that I like. So let's jump right on into it. You know her, you love her. One of the surprising rising stars from the last set. Recently, ATRAXA Grand Unifier has caught my eye for, oh lord, the value potential. So I figured I would do a breakdown of what my thoughts are for the deck, give you any sort of advice, recommendations, and the general game plan I'm thinking of for when I eventually build her. And yeah, have a good discussion about how Atraxa might play out since the community slept on her during initial release and is now all about her. So, what does Atraxa Grand Unifier do? Well, whenever she enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So, you see that white mana pip? If this does not scream flicker value, then I don't know what does. Okay, looking at the top 10 and putting for each card type, so an enchantment, a sorcery, an instant, a land, a creature, and it's not uncommon for you to be able to, if you set it up correctly, do 2, 3, 4, even 5 flickers in a turn. So just think of the absolutely insane value you're getting off this. So yeah, flicker is definitely going to be a crazy sub-theme for this deck. Okay, so you might like this deck, and again, this is my approximation. There might be other good things about it, but obviously flicker value. Oh, sweet heavens. Like, as somebody who is your average King Brago enjoyer, I just can't with this. You are just going to be able to sift through your deck so fast if you set it up right, and just get exactly what you need out of it. So flicker value. Okay. Well, my initial thoughts for this deck as well is for a more control-y style of gameplay. You got black in it, and white. That's most of the kill spells in the game right there. This isn't going to be an aggro deck in my approximation. You are going to want to look into a couple different win cons. This deck can be built any number of ways. The flicker value is so strong. Mainly what I'm going to be focusing on today is a sort of mid-range control style deck with the outcome being either a poison counter victory with various proliferate effects all throughout the deck, or it could be an approach of the second sun, or it could be any amount of things, but definitely a bit more slower paced deck. So that being said, you'll have a lot of interaction, and you'll be sifting through your deck so much that you'll be able to find those interactive pieces and play a large portion of the game. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who suffers from this, but I love getting the new flashy cards, never to see it again for like the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, and the amount at which me and my buddies play is entirely dependent on what's going on in our lives. So you might not see that new flashy card for a very, very long time. So with the Trax's ability, you will certainly have a lot of fun getting your money's worth out of your cards. So what might you not like about the Atraxa gameplay, in my opinion? Well, it's definitely a bit of a complicated game plan. There's no easy just go face like in my last video on Tolerand. You got to be a little bit more nuanced. And that's not a bad thing, not at all. And it's not saying you can't just go face, but you can build Atraxa to have so many different game plans at the moment, in my approximation, that it might leave a newer player somewhat confused. That goes right back on into the vague win conditions. I mean, again, you gotta iron out and build her a very specific way. Atraxa by herself does not lend really to any specific win condition. It's just that her value engine can be great for however you decide to build her. And then and this is a point that I kind of coined, value for value's sake, because, Atraxa in a vacuum. There was a buddy of mine that I played against a while ago, and to some extent my own deck, when he made a flicker deck, and it flickered a lot, and he got a crud ton of value, but at the end of the game, nothing really happened. I mean, he was flickering again and again and again every single turn, but, an hour and a half long game later, there was really no end to it. So, definitely make sure you have a game plan going in. Okay, well, speaking of the game plan, well, Atraxa is a 6-mana commander, so we have green in our arsenal, so we're going to have to run some decent ramp cards and some mana rocks. I do apologize for that. My music is going to commercial in the background. Sorry if that interrupted anything. Yeah, so we're going to want to ramp Atraxa out as quickly as possible with mana rocks and other such green spells. You're going to want to have your flicker enablers ready. Oh my god, Preston the Vanisher. I haven't picked them up yet, but it definitely seems worth a $20 price tag. Same for Astral Drift. You're in white. You have all the flicker things. And then you use Atraxa's flicker to go find the cards that you need for your win condition. It's a bit less efficient and a bit more slow, but Inexorable Tide is a good enchantment for the proliferation of those poison counters. So, again, Atraxa is a great enabler for how you want to build her. Alright, so what is the deck looking like? Well, as I'm not building this up to CEDH standards, it's going to be a little bit more slow, so we're definitely going to want some more lands in here, and especially if you can afford to put them in. Some of the Triomes, your Terramorphics, your Evolving Wilds, anything to help you with your mana fixing. That's what you want to focus on in these 35 lands. So, we brought up a more control-y style of gameplay. In my humble opinion, the more rats, the better in these kind of situations. But again, that entirely depends on your group. Me and my friends just recently went through a horrid game where it was non-stop board wipes that lasted the game. I mean, made the game last another half an hour to an hour longer than it should. So definitely think about your play group before, that happens. But, yeah. So flicker enablers, so it's hard to put a number on this. I'm just ballparking off the top of my head. These are going to be your Astral Drifts, your Ghostly Passage, your Cosmic Interventions, anything to help get those Atraxa out. I mean, not Atraxa out, to get the value off of Atraxa. As usual, I like my 3 to 5 mana rocks. My guaranteed 3 I'll always put in is Soul Ring, Arcane Signet if it's multicolored, and a Commander Sphere. That's always a good base, but you might want to include your Azoria Signets, your Golgari Signets, and some of the other mana rocks, maybe a Felwar Stone in here as well. Completely up to you. So this deck will be a little bit creature heavy because while creature heavy I say, but while your main source of value will be Atraxa, you are running a flicker value engine here, so you're going to want to have amazing other things that you can flicker as well, and there's a lot of amazing creatures out there that can do that for you. And then this will be, 0 to 20 is your win cons in your interactions. So depending on how you choose to build Atraxa, this could be various proliferation related things. This could just be general utility and card draw. This could just be, if you want to build her combo style, these could be combo pieces as well. So, yeah. Alright, so what are some high synergy cards? Okay, well, We can't start off, Enter the Battlefield effects without talking about the Dami Mommy herself. Elish Norn is just such a broken card. Your ETBs get doubled and turns off ETBs for your opponents. This is as close as you can come to an auto include. Um, Same thing with Displacer Kitten. I mean, it's a good flicker enabler, incredibly high synergy. Whenever you cast a spell, you flicker out ATRAXA. You could just look at the top 10 cards again and again and again and find exactly what you need if you set up right. And I put Ephemerate there, but that's just an example for any of the cheapy blink spells that white has. Okay, and what are some payoffs? Okay, I leaned and will be building my own ATRAXA deck a little bit closer to the Toxic Proliferate, but in this section we'll discuss a little bit more. So you're playing a slower game plan. You got those wraths, you got black for the kill spells. Approach of the Second Sun. When in doubt, for a slow game plan, that's always a great piece. The Blue Dominus from Phyrexia All Be One. If you're looking for those to poison counter people out, that's awesome to get those extra proliferates on there, and it can protect itself. I included Exhel, not just because, she's Atraxa's creation, but, as I was making this video, I thought, a cool kind of sub-theme would be using those poison counters, not necessarily for the win, but to find different payoffs. Like Exhel, if your opponents have more than 3 poison counters, you can start, taking their own cards and finding the win con there. I don't know if I necessarily recommend a Thief type build, but it's a different way to find value. Of course there's all your other different things. There's Triumph for the Hordes just for an infect victory. You can go wide with tokens. Preston is a huge token generator, and I'm sure there's 1,000,001 different combos, but at the core of it all, it's going to be the value that you generate from Flicker, from all the incredibly valuable creatures you have in your deck. And if you do it right, more often than not, I would be willing to bet you will be playing Magic and you will be drawing cards more times rather than none. So yeah, that's going to be it for this quick Commander deck tech. Thank you all so much for tuning back in. Hope you enjoy, and if you have any suggestions for the next Commander for me to cover, please leave it down in the comments, and like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.